Hi, it's Sandy Wiley. Today's video I decided to do because of a comment that YouTube deleted from one of my subscribers. And the comment was about borderline personality disorder and narcissistic personality disorder really kind of being one and the same. Now, it was a long comment. It was controversial. It made me think. I love when people write comments that make me think. I believe in freedom of speech. I want to just say this first before I even start this video because it's disturbing. I thought it was a great comment. It made me question things because a lot of times I question whether I was narcissistic too. And I thought a lot of borderline personality and narcissism kind of like go hand in hand. And he brought up a lot of good points, and YouTube deleted it. I tried to write him, and the email bounced back because I wanted to tell him that I didn't delete the comment, first of all. And second of all, I wanted him to write the comment again, just being a little bit more careful how he words it. YouTube has really come down really, really hard. And just like, almost like taking away freedom of speech, and I don't believe in that. I don't want people just to come on, on my channel, on my videos, and just say nice things and agree with everything I say. And like, how boring is that? Isn't it more interesting if people have different opinions and it sparks a debate? I think that's really exciting, when people have different opinions, because people do have different opinions. If like every one of my subscribers comes on and agrees with everything I say, that's boring. And like, really, no one, you see, and it doesn't give a person a chance. They'll probably just like drop out of, my channel, because they'll say, well, you know what, I made a comment just because she didn't agree with me, and now it's deleted. But that I didn't delete it, I'm even doing this whole video today based on that person's comment, because YouTube deleted it, and I don't think that was right. There was no swearing or no derogatory or no slander, no prejudice. There was nothing in the comments. It was a long comment. All the person, to sum it up, was saying is that borderline personality disorder and narcissistic personality disorder, in this person's mind, in his mind, was kind of like one and the same. And he went on to say some other things. Okay, let's talk about that. I said my piece about freedom of speech. I didn't delete the comment. I welcome different opinions. I don't want everyone to agree with me. I want you to tell me how you really feel. And, I want there to be some interest in my channel, on my videos, some debating, it's boring otherwise. But both the borderline and the narcissist personality, they're both personality disorders. When the two occur together, symptoms of each may worsen. Now, I've often questioned, this is why I love this person's comment, because I've often questioned if I was narcissistic, because sometimes I can be, not have feelings, or I'll close myself off from feeling. I just question it sometimes, but then other times I can be overly emotional and feel too much, which is a borderline symptoms. But still, I have let's go into it. Let's pick it apart. Let's see, if this guy is right. Okay, but it says here, it's possible that treating borderline personality may help alleviate some of the symptoms of narcissistic personality disorder. But the two, it says right here, that the two can concur together, that you can be borderline and narcissistic. But it doesn't mean that every borderline is narcissistic or every narcissistic is borderline. But they do overlap. Let's look more into it. There's also a new term called borderline narcissist. It refers to people with both conditions. So let's see, what this is all about. So the borderline and the narcissist share some characteristics. See those? So that's how it can overlap. Both involve dramatic, overly emotional, or unpredictable thinking or behaviors. However, the two conditions are significantly different. Both narcissistic and borderlines are categorized in cluster B personality disorders. That's for all you, psychology majors out there, or, you people interested. The regular person walking the street doesn't, care about, cluster B personalities or, anything like that. Now, people with both types of disorders may have very low self-worth. That's very true of me. But in narcissistic people, it leads to egotistical behavior and a lack of empathy. In the borderline, anger may be turned inward, resulting in frequent changes in behavior and mood. Individuals with narcissistic personality disorder score extremely high in cognitive or cold empathy, but are substantially below average in effective or warm empathy. Conversely, those with borderline, like me, generally score below average in cognitive empathy and around or slightly below average in warm empathy. What does all this mean? Let's look at more. Here is the following symptoms. Narcissistic personality disorder. A sense of entitlement, inflated sense of self-importance, arrogant, egotistical, envious of others, lacks empathy, preoccupation with fantasies, success, power, beauty, requiring excessive admiration, taking advantage of others, believing that they are special and can only be understood by other special high-status people. Now, reading through all that, and that was for the narcissist, okay? What I read there, that was for narcissistic personality disorder. That is all of me, okay? So I very well could be both borderline and narcissistic. I do feel a sense of entitlement. My psychologist, Dr. Richard Geist, told me that I feel entitled because I was the only patient that he was given free therapy. In fact, he gave me free therapy for over 12 years. I didn't pay him a dime, not one red cent. And he charges $300 to all his other patients. And I didn't pay a penny. He doesn't take insurance. You have to pay him a check for $300. And I always thought that, I deserved the same treatment as all his other patients who pay him $300. Now, that might be a sense of entitlement. Why should I deserve the same treatment as other people paying $300 for 50 minutes when he's seeing me for zero, zip, nada? And it wasn't just because, of course I couldn't afford $300, but he could have given me a sliding scale and made me pay something, There are therapists who use sliding scales based on your salary, and so, you pay according to your salary. And I wasn't paying anything. Meanwhile, I'm going on expensive vacations, like Paris and like Aruba, and he knew this. He could have said, hey, look, you can afford all these vacations. You can afford to give me some money for therapy. But he never did that. And he knew, like, I didn't hide anything from him, okay? Okay, so part of me has an inflated ego. Part of me, this is true. I lack empathy a lot of times, not all the time. Like I said, it depends. Sometimes I can be overly emotional and be really empathic, and other times I can just turn that like a light switch off and like not have any feelings. Preoccupation with fantasies. God, I live in a fantasy world. If anyone ever really knew me, yes, I'm very big on fantasies. Ideal love and beauty. See this hair, see this makeup. So you might say that I am narcissistic from reading these, okay? In short, people with narcissistic personality disorder are self-absorbed and egotistical. I am self-absorbed. I don't really see myself as egotistical. I don't go around thinking like I'm better than you, That's not me. That's the one thing that I don't think. I don't think I'm better than other people. Not really. I wouldn't say I think that at all. But I am self-absorbed, definitely. I am wrapped up in myself. So see what I mean? It's kind of like iffy there, Now here we go. Borderline personality disorder. Okay. Is characterized by consistent changes in behavior, mood, and self-image. Episodes of anger, depression, and anxiety. And, I have that in spades, see? Extreme fear of abandonment. I have that in spades. Impulse behaviors. Right here. Such as unsafe sex or substance use. And that has been true in my case on both of those accounts. Self-harm. That's the only thing that alcohol, abuse and alcohol is self-harm. Drinking and driving and getting into car crash, that's self-harm. I mean, I don't cut myself or like bodily harm myself like some other borderlines do. But thoughts of suicide is another thing. I'm really not suicidal. The only one time that I actually could say that I wanted to kill myself was the night that I found out my son was severely beaten by a staff member. And I took a bottle of vodka and I started drinking right from the bottle. And I kept saying, I want to die, I want to die. But was I trying to kill myself? I mean, that's the only time I could say that, that I actively, just didn't care what I was doing. I was, drinking out of a whole bottle of vodka and saying I want to die. But other than that, I've never done anything. I never tried to kill myself. I never tried to hurt, nothing. I've never been hospitalized for mental, for anything like that. A lot of borderlines have been hospitalized for mental health. I never was. I don't think of harming myself. I don't think of killing. I don't have suicidal ideation. I have none of that, or self-harm. But I still consider myself borderline, even though I don't have that. And I think, I fall in the narcissistic spectrum too. But here it says, especially during times of stress, borderlines can experience dissociation. Someone experiencing dissociation can feel like they don't have a sense of self or identity. They can feel detached from their emotions, memories, and thoughts. And they can also have experienced significant memory loss. I blocked out most of my young childhood, probably between the ages of, I don't know, maybe under 10 is all blocked out. Now, because of dissociation, you could say that if you detach yourself from your emotions, which dissociation is, detaching yourself from your emotions, that you don't have emotions because you're detached from them. So, in that sense, maybe it's not that I don't feel anything like the narcissistic person. It may be because I've detached myself from my emotions. See? So maybe I'm not narcissistic those times I have no feelings, because borderlines can dissociate, which means they detach themselves. It's not like I don't have the feelings. It's like I'm detached from them. It's kind of like say you were violently attacked, and you freeze, or men are taking advantage of you, several men at once. I don't want to say the word because YouTube is so, Now you can dissociate from that and not feel any of it. You just like get an out of body experience. Like your body is there being attacked brutally and invaded, but you completely are out of your body. So you're not feeling anything that is happening to you. And that's different than not really feeling, when you have the deer in the headlights kind of thing, where you freeze. Okay, that's different when you freeze. Like say you're a mother and your little kid runs out in the middle of the street and you see a car coming and just like plows down, just kills your kid in an instant. I mean, when you see that car coming, instead of running out, you freeze. It's not like you didn't care about your child and didn't try to run out and save her. It's just like you were in such shock because it happened so fast. You were in shock and you froze in that second. That can this is true. That can happen. Doesn't mean that you didn't care or you were, it's a difference from, the dissociation is different than not having the feeling. The dissociation is detaching from the feeling. It doesn't mean that you don't feel like a narcissist doesn't feel. It means that you are detached from it. It's like if I take this necklace off and put it in my drawer, it doesn't mean like I don't have the necklace. It just means it's not on me. It's off. But it doesn't mean that I don't have it, that I can't go in my drawer and put it back on. See the analogy I'm trying to give you where the narcissist, he doesn't have it at all. He doesn't have it at all. Where the borderline has it, but can take it off and hide it in a drawer. See, maybe it's not a good analogy, but I just saw this necklace and I thought, you see what I'm saying? That the borderline is, so there is a difference. So, I always wondered if I was narcissistic because I have a lot of those traits. But then I don't have all of the traits of the borderline either because I don't self-harm and I don't have suicide ideation or anything, like that. Okay, how often do they occur together, the narcissistic and the borderline co-occur? While the overlap between narcissism and borderline is discussed often in popular psychology literature, very few careful studies of the co-occurrence of both of them have been conducted. So it's very, they haven't done enough studies where a person is both narcissistic and borderline, which is like I've been questioning if I'm both of them. And that comment that subscriber made to my other video on cohorts have empathy for the narcissist made me, I thought it was good. It made me question things. That's why I did this whole video on the two. All right. A 2018 study that drew from treatment of seeking samples rather than community sample, that about 13% with borderlines also meet the diagnostic criteria for narcissistic personality disorder. That's 13%. So, I think that you can also be on the spectrum too. Like my son, before he got he contacted pneumococcal meningitis and got traumatic brain injury. He was on the autistic spectrum. You can be on a spectrum. It doesn't mean that you're severely autistic. You can, there's all different levels from like high functioning autistic to very, very low functioning to somewhere in between. You see, you don't have to, you can be on the spectrum. I can have some narcissistic personality disorder without being on the high end of it. So I can fall on that spectrum. And from looking at all this, I think I fall on both spectrums. I think I fall on the border. I definitely know I'm already borderline because I've been diagnosed with that. And I agree with all that anyway. But I think I also fall on the narcissistic personality spectrum. I'm not a full-blown narcissist. I don't think so, because I identify with dissociating. I identify with detaching from my feelings. So that I put them away in the drawer like the necklace. But it doesn't mean I don't have them, because I do. I can have very deep empathy. I can feel a lot for someone, especially someone I love, But, it's questionable. It's questionable enough to. And now this is saying how narcissistic personality disorder affects borderlines. There are reasons to believe that someone with both of these disorders would be less likely to get better over time. People with narcissistic personality disorder can be resistant to treatment. And this is what that person was saying. Also, another person was saying they can't be cured. Narcissistic personality can't be cured. And they often have poor insight into ways that their behaviors are detrimental to themselves or others. Also, people with narcissistic personality disorder may cause more emotional pain to others than they cause themselves. And I think with me, it's pretty equal. I think that I cause emotional pain to others and myself. I would not say that I cause more emotional pain to other people. I think that I cause great emotional pain to myself too. So, and this can mean their motivation to change their behavior is very low. That's why they say you really can't help narcissistic personality disorder. Now, it goes on and on and on about this. The relationships of people with borderline are often quite dysfunctional. Gone through how many people? The only person that's been consistent in my life is my husband. Been married 36 years to him. And my two sons. I have a 26-year-old son and a 28-year-old son. Other than that, nada. Okay? No relationship has lasted other than my husband and my sons. But, I mean, it goes on and on. Treatment for both of these. There are currently no supported treatments for narcissistic personality disorder. No published clinical trials or treatments for that alone or co-occurring with borderline personality disorder. So there's no treatments for, it's saying it right here, okay? I'm reading off a psychological magazine here. I'm not going to tell you very, very well mind, it's called. So, but I think there is help with borderlines. But if you have both, they're saying there really isn't much, no clinical trials or no published trials of someone with both being helped or someone with narcissistic personality being helped. Right. The clinical literature in general tends to regard narcissistic personality disorder as very difficult to treat, Some researchers suggest that the overlap between narcissism and borderline symptoms, such as impulsiveness, destructive behaviors, treatments designed for borderline, including the DBT therapy, all these different other therapies, may also work with narcissistic personalities. However, more research is needed. So, what do you think? Do you think that they are one and the same? Do you think that they overlap? Can you have both of them at the same time? What do you think? Do you think there's hope for either one of them? Hope for borderlines? Hope for narcissistic personality disorders? Or what about people who have both? Like me, I think it overlaps. I think I'm predominantly borderline. This is how I would diagnose myself. I'm predominantly borderline with overlapping narcissistic personality disorder. Like I'm on the spectrum for narcissistic personality disorder, but I'm not high on the spectrum, you know, but I'm somewhere on that spectrum. But anyways, very interesting. And you know, what are your thoughts about it? I brought this up because someone made a comment about it and saying they're one and the same, and they can't be treated, and so they are a lot alike. It's very interesting. Let me know your opinions, but just be careful like how you word them, because YouTube will delete them. It's not me deleting them, unfortunately. I want to hear from you, and I just be careful. Like when I do these videos now, I have to be very careful the way I come across what I'm saying. I want to get the meaning across, but the way I say it, I have to be very, very careful otherwise. All right.